Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu salam wa Rasulullah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Jawahir al-Quran wa Durrah, the Juz of Quran and Spares. Still reading from Surah Al-Ankabut. And inshallah today we will reach the actual selection of Imam Al-Ghazali. We're still, we have few verses only. We were done with the story of Sayyidina Lut alayhi salam with what happened to his people and the reason why that punishment befell all the people of Sayyidina Lut alayhi salam, Prophet Lot, and his family, except that his wife was included amongst those who were punished, and the rest of his family. We spoke about this in details in the last session, and there is no need to go over more than this. What we have, verse 36, is beginning of in fact, it's many of these stories here are mentioned briefly. There are details elsewhere. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإلى مدين أخاهم شعيبا فقال يا قوم اعبدوا الله وارجوا اليوم الآخر ولا تعثوا في الأرض مفسدين. And to the people of Midian we sent their brother Shu'aib, meaning he's one of them. He said, "O my people, worship Allah and hope for the last day, hope for the reward of the last day, and do not go about spreading corruption in the land." There is a general. People do ask, and some people do think that because Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he went to Madian when he ran away from the Egyptians, from the Pharaoh. They think that his father-in-law is Shu'aib himself. And this is, you will find that even some scholars subscribe to this idea. And there is, look at the order that we have here in this surah. We have Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, Prophet Abraham, and then we have Lut alayhi salam. In fact, if you think about it, we do have a certain chronological order here. And we have before Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, we have Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam. So after Lut alayhi salam, we have Shu'aib. And how do we know that Shu'aib is not the Sayyidina Musa's father-in-law? Well, because there is in a different context we have a verse which says وَمَا قَوْمُ لُوطٍ مِّنكُمْ بِبَعِيدٍ. And it means the people of Lot, Prophet Lot alayhi salam, they were not very far from the people, chronologically, time-wise, from the people of Shu'aib, Midian at the time. And there is quite some time, Wallahu Alam, we talk about a few hundred years between Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam and Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. So, and this is the position of Ibn Kathir, and this is really the right position of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alam. Yes. In fact, Ibn Kathir said in his tafsir that Shu'aib came before Prophet Moses, before Musa alayhi salam, it was a long time before Musa alayhi salam. Now to the message here, all the prophets, in fact, you will find this message repeated verbatim in the Quran. Each prophet calls his people to the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And of course, every time there is such a call, it should be understood without association, without shirk, without attributing anyone, without divinizing anything or anyone. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to hope for the hereafter. This is going to be a tough call, I would say. Why a tough call? Of course, it's easy for whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it easy, and inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it easy for all of us. Because there are external and internal challenges. People might have patience vis-a-vis that which is external. Most Muslims will not play gambling, will not gamble. Most Muslims will not eat pork, inshallah. Most Muslims will not basically drink alcohol. And this is the last part of this verse is the call for not to cause corruption on earth. I just mentioned that there are external circumstances that one can have patience, but the internal challenge, Imam Ghazali says that the ideas that crosses one's mind, that the ideas that cross one's mind, the ideas that cross one's heart, that's a tough call, because there is unless you are a friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, unless you are a Siddiq, you will have a hard you will have a hard time. You will still struggle, you will still fight that fight, and I'm going to shed light on this. The struggle, internal struggle against these negative ideas. Satan will continue to whisper. You have an-nafs al-ammara bis-su', but Satan will continue to whisper. And as Imam Ghazali says, there is an ongoing battle between the forces of good and forces of evil. I'm translating liberally. Literally, he says, the soldiers of the angels and the soldiers of Satan's will basically fight against each other. This is, of course, they fight over your heart. And the actual battleground is one's heart. So one already can think of this ongoing, and it's not really only in broad daylight. It's 24 hours, 24/7, really, for the rest of one's life. So this call of Shu'aib alayhi salam, from a different context, the corruption was primarily in the area of economics. They used to cheat. That's basically in terms of the balances, in terms of the weights and measures, as we call them today. So what was their reaction? They rejected him. They rejected Sayyidina Shu'aib alayhi salam. And they were punished, a severe punishment. فكذبوه فأخذتهم الرجفة فأصبحوا في دارهم جاثمين. But they rejected him, so an overwhelming earthquake struck them, and they fell lifeless in their homes. different punishments that befell different people: floods, earthquakes, the earth swallowing um, those who were punished, like in the story of Qarun. Uh, Sound, the blast, if you will, and we spoke about all this in details. Uh, Fiery stones toppling the ground upside down, like in the case of the people of Lut alayhi salam. So after these two verses, we shift to uh, and the punishments will be mentioned. These punishments will, as I mentioned, in fact, all the blast, the earthquake, or the land giving in and swallowing them, and the flood, they will be mentioned in verse 40. وعادا وثمود وثمود وقد تبين لكم من مساكنهم وزين لهم الشيطان أعمالهم فصدهم عن السبيل وكانوا مستبصرين. And the people of Ad and Thamud met a similar fate. A similar fate, that's because simply the wow there, the conjunction, is understandable. So they met a similar fate, which must be clear to you. وَقَدْ تَبَيَّنَ لَكُمْ, must be clear to you, addressing the Meccans, because their ruins are not very far from Mecca. Because the Meccan caravans passed by these places during the two annual uh, commercial uh, journeys. A caravan would go to the north, to Syria, Sham. Syria here is not the nation state. It would include Lebanon, Syria, Palestine, and Jordan, and to Yemen to the south. They pass by these ruins. In fact, it's only most recently that these ruins became touristic attractions. Um, People could learn a lesson, and I hope so. I hope that people would look at people who flourished in the past. One can think about magnificent building palaces carved into the rocks to the mountains, but ultimately, where are they? They were punished. They met the same fate, similar fate. They Satan made their evil deeds appealing to them, hindering them from the right path, from فصدهم عن السبيل إلى الله. We might be speaking about اهدنا الصراط المستقيم, that's السبيل. The Prophet ﷺ in one hadith, he drew one line, and parallel to it, he drew other lines, and the one in the middle is the straight path, and there are parallel paths that steer people away from the right path, from the straight path. And now there's mention of Qarun and Fir'aun and Haman. We have dealt with them before, but again, وقارون وفرعون وهامان ولقد جاءهم موسى بالبينات فاستكبروا في الأرض وما كانوا سابقين. We also destroyed Qarun, Korah, the Pharaoh, and Haman. Indeed, Moses had come to them with clear proofs, but they behaved arrogantly in the land. Yet they could not escape us. They could not escape. وَمَا كَانُوا سَابِقِينَ. You cannot. There is no way. Once it once it comes to running away, you have two paths. Running away to a material shelter, just like the son Noah, Prophet Noah's son, the one who drowned in the flood. He resorted to a material, what he thought would protect him from the flood. سآوي إلى جبل يعصمني من الماء. Of course, his father knew that on that day there is nothing that could protect him from the divine decree, which is flooding the earth, and only those on the ark would be saved. So we said that people resort to material today. I mean, rather than having a different world order based on justice, based on truth, not based on interests. We talk about world order that morality, and yes, Islamic morality, is the cornerstone of this order. I don't see it elsewhere. Yes, it's like a Venn diagram, and we share with other faiths and other cultures. But what exists today definitely is not the answer. Some people are afraid of doomsday, which gets closer and closer in terms of, I'm talking about a nuclear, a massive worldwide nuclear war. And some people think that the solution is to build subterranean homes equipped for them to stay for a while, let's say, those who are wealthy. So bunkers. Some of them buy places in New Zealand because they believe it will be very far. The rich and the wealthy. In fact, so much so that New Zealand um, passed laws to prevent those celebrities and rich people from coming to New Zealand to buy and establish these homes for fear of like one day. How do you know that you'll have a chance to fly from Europe or the United States or from whatever place? How do you know that you'll have enough time to fly from that place to New Zealand if a nuclear war takes place? So some people, this is now, some people resort to material cause effect. They think, but this is not the end of the story. And the other, running away. So you run away to the material causes. The other way is فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. Amazing. Everything you run away from it to something else except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You run from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You simply return, you go back to God, ask for forgiveness, ask for guidance. So rather than solving the threats that we have today, we simply think of a solution for the few. Like the whole idea of going to Mars, it's not about science. So we have destroyed the Earth, and now we are going to send people to destroy Mars. Mars is already destroyed. There is no breathable air. It's arid land. I'm not against exploring. Islam is not against exploring whether Earth or the universe, but the idea is that's not the solution to our problems on Earth. How many people you are going to send? One, 8 people, it will be like 1 in a billion, literally. Say that we will become 10 billion and you send 10 people. So it's going to be 10 people, 1 in a billion still. That's not the solution. And Qarun and Fir'aun and Haman, they represent the the marriage between uh, politics and capital, wealth, and the executive, those who would implement things. Haman, who was willing, ready to fulfill what Fir'aun is asking. And Qarun is the money. You can think about today, about Fir'aun and Qarun, where you have basically, in fact, some people don't understand that it is money. Yes, for example, the United States, that in general, not in every case, it is money that puts people in office. And then they have to pay it back, passing certain laws, taking care of the rich, uh, and the gap between the wealthy and the poor is greater than ever. Homelessness and drugs and collapse of the family and the social order. And they would like to sell all this to us. So Qarun, Fir'aun, and Haman, they received they witnessed the clear proofs at the hands of Musa alayhi salam, all by leave of God, the miracles, if you will. But they were arrogant, of course, and since they do not escape the divine punishment did befell all those. فَكُلًّا أَخَذْنَا بِذَنبِهِ. So he sees each people for their sin. فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ أَرْسَلْنَا عَلَيْهِ حَاصِبًا. Again, some of them we sent a storm of stones. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ أَخَذَتْهُ الصَّيْحَةُ. Some were overtaken by a mighty blast. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ خَسَفْنَا بِهِ الْأَرْضَ. Some we caused the earth to swallow. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ أَغْرَقْنَا. And some we drowned. وما كان الله يظلمهم ولكن كانوا أنفسهم يظلمون. Allah would not have wronged them, but it was they who wronged themselves. In the next verse, the spider is mentioned, the house, the spider web is mentioned here. This is where the selection of Imam Al-Ghazali's selection begins. مثل الذين اتخذوا من دون الله أولياء كمثل عنكبوت اتخذت بيتا وإن أوهن البيوت لبيت العنكبوت لو كانوا يعلمون. The parable of those who take protectors other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that of a spider spinning a shelter. اتخذت بيتا, a shelter, spinning a web. That's the home of the spider. And the flimsiest of all shelters is certainly that of a spider, if only they knew. So here the example of the spider web is to catch basically insects and what have you. It can withstand some some elements, natural elements, but this structure itself is very fragile. One can speak volumes about spiders. In fact, it's an amazing thing. Uh, but the idea is that let's not forget why the spider web is mentioned. مثل الذين اتخذوا من دون الله أولياء كمثل العنكبوت. The parable of those who take protectors other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You resort to, you like a superpower to be on your side. In this case here, the United States of America is a spider's web. Russia is a spider's web. China is a spider's web. And when people speak about the world going, so it was the Soviet Union and the United States. Pretty much, it's unipolar world. China is definitely moving forward economically, is closer to the United States. We have seen how, we have seen, meaning the news speaks about their weapons, very advanced. I'm not going to go into details, but one can speak about the very short war between Pakistan and India, where Chinese fighter jets overtook the Indian fighter jets. But the idea is, if China is moving up that ladder, if China is replacing, we should not be happy as Muslims. We should have learned this lesson a long time ago. In order for us to be a viable civilization, unity in every unity is a must. It's a And when I say it's a must, unity is an obligatory act. It's for us as an ummah to realize, but also the politicians, the Muslim leaders should realize this. We cannot be basically dependent on anyone else. All of them are spiders web. Once they become obsolete, we might speak about spider com. Inshallah, we'll continue with the rest of the surah in the next session, where we have beautiful verses about how to engage, how to dialogue, our relationship with the people of the book. Inshallah, and we'll do that. Until then, subhanakallah wa hamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.